Hey guys, welcome to our channel, the number one place for designers, artists and creators. This is Les, I'm an illustrator and graphic designer, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how I have designed this logo over here using Adobe Illustrator. If you're new here, let me just tell you, this channel is all about illustration, graphic design, interior design, architecture, branding and art, insights and tutorials, that kind of stuff. So if these are topics that interest you, feel free to hit that subscribe button to see more of our videos. So we're going to design a logo. We're going to go through the whole process from sketch to completion in 7. You know what, 6 plus 1 steps. Let's get to it. Okay, step 1 is all about sketching and idea generation. Draw out some ideas for your logo freehand. I prefer to do this with pencils on paper because it's quick and I feel fully in control of my drawings this way. But if you prefer an iPad and an Apple Pencil these days, that's absolutely fine. It is okay to do ugly drawings here, right? No one's gonna see these, unless you are a YouTuber. You are just brainstorming and see what works. I know that I wanted to combine an ancient Spartan helmet with gym imagery here, so I have tried a few different routes here, drawing out weights and kettlebells, and combine that with this helmet motif, that kind of stuff. Allow yourself to play around because that's how you will get to the best ideas. For example, just by letting loose and not really caring about what I'm doing, I came up with this idea of hiding a capital letter H for hoplite within the design, in the center of the helmet. Now basically, just draw until your winning concept comes to you. You will know when you're ready. And step 2 is the digitalizing phase. So you take your sketchwork and make digital versions of the drawings you like the most. I usually draw 2 or 3 concepts this way. Now in terms of Illustrator, when you do any logo work, you really should be using perfect shapes for drawing, such as rectangles, lines, squares and circles to construct your design. What I like to do is take my sketch's opacity down, lock its layer and then draw perfect lines over it on a different layer. Aim for symmetry as well. What I often do is construct one side and then just copy that onto the other side using the reflect tool. I think by default it's under this rotate tool here, if you can see it. Now to combine all these shapes and lines, I use the shape builder tool. If you haven't used this before, you basically have to select all the shapes that you want to work with. Then you hold down the cursor and go from one shape to another to combine them. Similarly, if you want to delete parts of a shape, you hold down the Alt key and then click on the shape. Now when you work this way, it is easy to end up with a lot of unnecessary anchor points. So I like to go in and delete some of these. The reason for this is because if you have a lot of unused anchor points, it can cause you a bit of a headache when you try to modify the angles later on. For example, if you want to create a curved angle, like I did here, you have to select the corner point with the direct selection tool and then look for this little white circle here. And you hold and drag it along to smooth out an angle. Now step 3 is to experiment digitally, just like we did on paper. Now that I have one shape that is almost there, I go out and start drawing over another sketch of mine that I did. I really like the first version's helmet shape, but I also wanted to take on board this idea of having these gym weights vertically soldered onto the helmet to get the upper part. A good tip here is before you do some drastic changes to your design, just feel free to copy and paste the whole thing somewhere out of your way, so you can always go back if you feel like. the direction you are taking is just not getting anywhere. Now I want to briefly mention typography as an extra step. I think I will make a video on type in the near future anyway, so I'm not gonna say a lot about what I did here, but in case you need some quick advice, just make sure that the type work complements the art direction you are going with the shape-based logo. You know, the same line weight, same color, same feel, that kind of stuff. A good way to test this, if your composition, and by composition I mean the shape work and the type work together, if they fit into a perfect shape like a circle or a triangle or, you know, a perfect square, then it probably will work. For example, I want to loosely fit my icon into a perfect circle. An even better trick is to make type part of the shape design, just like I did with this one. I put my type on top of the helmet instead of a figurative way of drawing out this feather-like headpiece feature that Greek helmets usually have. Now step 4 is to simplify. This part always reminds me of this weird and wonderful Steve Martin movie from the 90s called LA Story. You probably haven't seen it. Anyway, Steve Martin's character and his girlfriend go out for coffee in this movie with a group of friends, right? And then at the table the lady tells this anecdote about how you should never have more than 7 points worth of accessories on you when you're going out. Say a pair of earrings is 2 points, a fancy necklace is 4 points, and so on. Has any of you seen this movie? No? I didn't think so. If you got the chance, watch it, because it's just weird and wonderful, and the kind of comedy they just don't really make anymore. Now, what I'm trying to say here is less is more when it comes to design. You might not even need this step, but me coming from an illustration background, I tend to over-design sometimes. I made everything a bit too fancy in the first go, so I had to go back and deconstruct the design. This capital H was not prominent enough, so I simplified these central lines. I got rid of all my decorative lines as well. Also I made this little hawk symbol part of the line. This line over here instead of the helmet, so it doesn't distract from the helmet. Little tweaks like this. A good way to check if your design is too complicated is to just simply zoom out. Make it very small. Now, if your design has parts, sections, lines that you don't really see at a very small scale, chances are you don't actually need those parts. Now step 5 is the color scheme. A few pointers that I like to state. Ideally it is outlined in the brief what kind of colors the client was thinking about. Oftentimes in a not so obvious way, but knowing what sort of look and feel they are after oftentimes helps to determine what palette would work. What is the nature of the business or service the logo is trying to represent? We have to make sure that the color scheme further emphasizes the original concept. Firstly, my client advised on a red or a blue color palette, so I gave that a try. I immediately felt that the blue hues just won't work here, so I dropped it pretty early on and focused on these pale red tones, mixed with monochrome greys. My reasoning for this was that the grey shades could represent the gym weights, which are usually black or grey, with these earthy and these earthy reds gives us this unisex color scheme that reminds the audience of ancient armory and the minerals that they were made of, you know, iron, copper, rust, that kind of feel. One thing I would emphasize here is if your logo will be printed a lot, go with block colors or line work, simple tones. Mine here, its main use is going to be an Instagram profile picture, so I can get away with adding some nice looking gradients here. But then again, it's also okay to have a few different versions to present. And that leads us to step 6, which is building and exporting the final set. Now I have made different versions which can be used for different uses, for different media. Going from simplest, we have a block color version, we have a block color with these drop shadows under it, we have a gradient version, we have a gradient with the drop shadows, and this big one here is the final profile picture. Now once you have a set like this, I use Asset Export to quickly save these out in different file formats simultaneously. You just tell the program what you want to save them out as. Here I usually make JPEGs, PDFs and PNGs, but you know, that could depend on your client's needs. So save them out and then you're basically done. Alright, I hope you were able to follow all of this. So if you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments. As always, if you enjoy our content, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you this time next week. Bye!